All right. Ladies and gentlemen, how we doing? It was Friday night. Now it's Saturday morning. Hope you all went out there and got stupid and decided to be somebody. You know, go out there throwing down some fireball shots, tearing it up, singing some songs, whatever, hitting the dance. Nobody does that shit anymore. It's a lame ass world, I'm afraid. At least it is around here. Nothing going on. Nothing. I'm sitting here listening to the wind blow, trying to stay warm. It's a balmy, I think 7 or 8 degrees outside. Just really lovely. Tropical weather. Just beautiful. Went to the store earlier. So this is the excitement of my Friday night. I go to the store to get some fixings to make some potato and bacon soup. Oh yeah, right. Real rock star here. Yeah, get down. But y'all gonna wish you had some of that potato bacon soup. I tell you what, I did a Traeger smoked turkey last week. Terrifying. Shout out to K Pook, Josh Robertson, Cam Thompson. What's up, cuz? What's good, man? He just got a Traeger. He sent me some photos last week. I'm stoked for him, man. That Traeger is like, it's a game changer. If you don't have one, fellas, ladies, whatevers, thems, theys, everybody should have a Traeger. I don't care if you're whatever. Even Sam Britton should have a Traeger. He'll steal one. He'll take one right off the goddamn UPS truck, man. You gotta watch his ass. They'll be delivering it to your house, and here comes Sam Britton. Oh man, they fired him. At least. How in the hell did that guy manage to stay around after he pulled that shit the first time? I mean, that's a federal offense. You cannot go and steal shit from an airport off the baggage claim that isn't yours and then take it someplace else with you. It's just, it's robbery affecting commerce. And when you're a federal employee, especially an upper level federal employee. So I guess he's off the dole now. He's off the cuff. So who knows? Who knows who's getting his salary now? Who's getting his paycheck? Yeah, they'll probably keep paying him. We'll keep paying him, I should say. It is a day, it's us. That's what we don't ever realize is that, I mean, really, it is and it isn't. They got another 1.6 trillion on the table, ladies and gentlemen. Another 1.6 that they're trying to get. They want to get this thing pushed through before they take off for the holidays. Just hit us a little bit harder, like we ain't had it enough. We need another 1.6 trillion dollars. In case we forgot what that looks like, that is a shit ton of moolah. It is. Hopefully you can read this. Can we see that? Maybe. That's what we're talking about. And that's just some chump change for them, right? I mean, we throw a little over there at Ukraine, the Ukrainians. Get Zelensky and the boys going again. Russia's over there just throttling those dudes, and everybody's, I feel bad for the people of Ukraine, okay? It sucks. That straight up, they didn't do nothing. And the people in the Donbass region, they've been getting shelled since 2014. 15,000 of those folks are dead because they speak a different language and they're Russian Orthodox. And so the Azov battalion, the neo-Nazis, have been going after him. It would be the equivalent of, say, Wyoming deciding that because in Southern California you have a large amount of Spanish-speaking individuals that are Catholic, that we're just gonna start picking them off. I mean, come on, what kind of shit is that, man? I mean, that's what this whole thing is over. If anybody's done their homework, which they haven't, and that's fine. I'm probably saying something to piss somebody off. I'm sure that's the case. It always is. But you got to do your homework. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got to look into these things. You got to figure out what's going on, why it's happening, and you got to follow the money. You always got to follow the money. I mean, you have to, because ultimately, at the end of the whole goddamn thing, that's what it always comes down to. It always boils down to that. And we're so worried about their borders over there. We haven't done a thing with the border here. Title 42 ends on the 21st. Okay. I think I saw today there was 1,500 people came across the Rio Grande. It's going to be crazy because there's not going to be anything implemented. There's nothing in place. Joe Biden goes down to Texas. He doesn't even go to the border, right? Doesn't even go there. That goofy Karine Jean-Pierre gets up there and says, "Oh, he's been to the border." The last time he was even anywhere close to it was in 2008 when he was out on the campaign trail, when he was, running on the VP side of things with Obama. That's it. That's it. So he's down there, and there's this, obviously, this is a humanitarian crisis. It for everybody involved. And what's the answer? Anybody? Bueller? Here's the thing. I don't like the whole thing with, I think people should be able to just go where people want to go. Tell you the truth. I don't like the whole nationalism thing, the nation building thing, the imperialism. I don't like it. I don't know what kind of purpose it serves. We, with nationalism, we sit here and we hear that "Proud to be an American" song, and everybody gets all teary-eyed, or the flag song comes on and everybody stands up and puts their hand on their heart. But guess what? You didn't have a thing to do with it, people. None of you in this world today had a thing to do with it. None of you. And none of you had a thing to do with slavery. And none of you had anything to do with oppressing women. None of you had anything to do with, stealing the land from indigenous peoples. None of us did. Now, does that take away the fact that it happened? No, of course it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. And are there things that need to change? Certainly there are. Certainly there are. But you can't sit there and demonize me because of the color of my skin, right? Because I didn't have anything to do with it. And neither did any of my people, any of my, anybody I know had nothing to do with it. I don't give a shit. None of us that are alive today had anything to do with it. Are there still repercussions from, the past? Of course. Yeah, I'm not going to deny that. And there are things that need to be changed, but we can't, you can't sit there and drive down the road while you're looking in the rearview mirror. You got to rip that shit off and throw it out the window. Okay? Because there's nothing but the present tense. That's all we all have, And if it's the powers that be that are causing this, then guess what? The powers that be, probably time for them to go away. I'm not saying inciting violence or anything like that, but it might be time for a new day. And I don't know how you go about doing that. I don't know how you put everybody on the same starting line. I don't know why it has to be a race anyways. What are we racing for? To die? Because as soon as our mom goes boom, boom, and we plop out, we're dying. First breath you take, what do? You cry, right? Why? You just left someplace nice and warm and had plenty of food, and if your mom was cool, you listen to some good music or something while you was in there, and then all of a sudden you just boom, boom, out in the cold world. You get smacked on the ass and they cut the cord, you're feeding to. They just, welcome to the world, kid. And then you're stuck wherever you're stuck. It doesn't matter. Like, nobody has a choice, right? Like, do you think anybody chooses to be born in a war-torn, disease-ridden, impoverished nation where you don't have clothes, you don't have clean drinking water? Or do you think that, if you had a choice, everybody'd be born here, right? But you don't have a choice. Nobody has a choice about this. It's just skin. That's it. It's just a car. It don't matter. Nobody has a choice. Nobody has a choice. But yet every single fucking time you turn around, it's racist this and racism that, and and yeah, it's out there. It is. But it's not like you think it is. It's not. Trust me, I live in one of the whitest places on the planet, and some of the kindest people ever. Ask my boy Pook. I mean, he's loved up here, I mean, it's just not what it's made out to be, And then you got these assholes that are crying and whining. Oh my God, the Keith Olbermanns. Oh, dude, remember when he used to be like just a sports guy, and he was actually like him and Dan Patrick. They were pretty good. God, him and Stephen Colbert. Those two. Oh, they need to go on a camping trip out here about this time. Well, maybe like last month. It's too bad they weren't the ones out there horn hunting when instead of those boys out there that got hit up by that grizzly bear. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not wishing anything ill on them. I just wish that they would go back to who they used to be. Like Colbert used to be funny. Olbermann used to be good at what he did. Now he's just a smarmy, just a punk ass, just, looking down his stupid glasses at everybody. And I'm glad Elon Musk, I guess he gave him a little time on the bench along with all the rest of these fools. And it's so funny. This Twitter thing has just got everybody so wound up. I didn't even start using Twitter until I think when I started the podcast, just because I could put the information out there, and that's it. But we're going to talk a little bit about that because we had part 6 of the Twitter files come out, and this came out through Matt Taibbi. Saw Barry Weiss sounded off today, and I sounded off on her a little bit because, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Elon Musk pretty much made her relevant again after she flubbed and did she basically did the Mark Sanchez butt fumble on Joe Rogan's show when she pretended to know exactly what Tulsi Gabbard had said or hadn't said, and then had to backpedal and walk it back and just looked stupid. And she went from being where she was to being, independent or whatever. And she goes and says something about, how she doesn't think it's, how that was an important story. How's it an important story to sit there and post live locations of a guy like Elon Musk on Twitter when he's in the air? I mean, this dude has got a target on his back. I don't care what, and I don't know why. This dude was beloved by everybody. He came up with the electric car. I mean, he was the smartest man alive, the richest man alive. He was the savior, the electric car guy. And now you've got the likes of Alyssa Milano. Good Lord. So we're going to start with that one. I traded in my Tesla and I went and got a Volkswagen. I don't want a white supremacist car. Who started Volkswagen? Volkswagen? Talk about an ignoramus. I mean, you don't get much more ignorant than that, but you know what? You'd be surprised. It does get more ignorant than that, because then you got a like Cenk Uygur, and oh my God, he's been sounding off. That dude, what a puke. He's such a puke. He's such a smarmy fathead. He calls Joe Rogan out, right? Calls Joe Rogan out to a fight that he'll kick his ass. Didn't do nothing about it. Didn't bust a grape, did you? Didn't do anything, did you, Cenk? Now, to me, if I'm going to call somebody out, then I'm going to do something, right? I mean, it's it's not one of those where you just are phone tough, which is what Cenk Uygur is. He's just phone tough. He starts yelling, and then he's got that goofy Anna Kasparian on there, and she starts yelling and screaming. and then they have to turn their show off because they can't even function because they get so triggered. I mean, what a pathetic bunch of idiots. And, and they're paid off by Jeffrey Katzenberg. I mean, that's why they get away with what they get away with. That's why Jimmy Dore left. She accused him of, she shows up with questionable garments on, bending over right in front of Jimmy, showing her monkey to everybody. And he said something like, "Oh, not even anything. I mean, what are you going to do?" And then she comes at him with like the sexual harassment thing. It's like, hey, dummy, you didn't have any drawers on and you were wearing a skirt halfway up your ass and you bent over and showed everybody your monkey. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. You expect everybody to just, nice job, Anna. Listening to her yell and scream and fucking carry on. She's so fucking retarded. Zhenk is too. A couple of fucking morons. And their ratings, I think, show it. Who cares if they do or if they don't? I don't know anybody that watches him or listens to him. I just see his tweets and they crack me up. I'm always just like, hey, dude, fight Rogan. Fight Rogan, then you can talk. All right? Like, you came out, you said all this shit about how you're going to fight Joe Rogan and all this and how you could kick his ass. It's like, okay, fight Joe Rogan. Then you can talk. Till you fight Joe Rogan, no, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it, Zhenk. I don't know how you pronounce that with that way anyways when it's a C-E, and I guess it's a I don't know, Slavic name. Pronunciation. The letters do different things. The C is a J, Zhenk. Anyway, whatever. I don't wish them any ill will. I just wish they would wise the fuck up because they do have influence, and what they're doing right now is not using it for the better. And he comes out and talks about how he's progressive and all this shit. They're not progressive. They didn't back, they didn't back anything with Medicare for all. They busted weak. Oh, now's not the time. Well, if now's not the time, then when is? Now is always the time. There's not tomorrow. There's not yesterday. Now is the time. It always is the time. Like Morris Day and the time. So, on that note, I'll stop sounding off on them. Like we said, Sam Brinton. Bye, Sam. Go find yourself a dog leash or whatever it is that you do. I don't know. They. I thought my meme was pretty funny, but I didn't get any really. I don't know if I got any commentary on it or not. But I thought my meme was funny. But maybe nobody else did. But I figured out why. The them they. Oh, and we got that goofy, that fluffhead, Bankman-Fried. Still, the name just gets me. Bankman, but it's spelled fried, but it's pronounced Fried. His parents called down there to that jail and asked that he get a special vegan diet for himself. Do you know how that goes over in there? I mean, he's in jail in the Bahamas, and I bet there ain't too many cats that look like him in there. Poofed out hair, bitch tits, got a voice like a 12-year-old Dutch girl. I need my vegan meal. Where's my anxiety patches? He's got a rough way to go here because guess what? That dude ain't getting out. He's a lifer. He defrauded more people than Bernie Madoff did. He pulled off the biggest Ponzi scheme bunch of shit that I don't think anybody's even wrapped their head around what this dude has done and what he's done to so many people. He's ruined people's lives. And he's so dumb that he thinks that nothing's coming to him. They ask him if he's concerned about coming back to the United States, and he says, I just really haven't thought about that. That's something I'll have to deal with in the future. They read a letter from a guy, retired dude, Dumped his whole $2 million that he'd saved up his entire life. Dumped it and lost it. Sends him a letter telling him that. And he goes, well, I'm sorry. What do you mean you're sorry? You're down there running around with that. I mean, that girlfriend of his looks like Schmeagol. I mean, the crazy thing is I don't think anybody's, I mean, some people have put it together, but they propped him up. And you hear that that howling wind. I can say it now that it's blowing. Somebody propped him up. There's no way that a 27-year-old doofus like that comes up with this shit. I mean, and the majority of that money is kicking right back to the DNC. Now, are they going to give it back to the investors? Is Joe Biden going to give that money back that he got from Sam Bankman-Fried? Or SBF, as they call him, from FTX or whatever the hell, all these stupid acronyms. No. And then you got, the funny thing is they do a congressional hearing today, and he was going to go in there and talk. He was going to spill it all. He was going to go up there and he was going to give it to him. And that's when they arrested him. So he couldn't do that. So then they put that Mr. Ray up there instead, the CEO that was named CEO on like November 11th. This guy doesn't know what has gone on. I mean, he seems like a decent enough, transparent enough dude. He's an older gentleman. It seems like he's, I mean, he's just like, it's like he just walked into the middle of a goddamn, flying fucking circus. What's he going to say to him? He doesn't know anything. November 11th. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's just a little over a month that he's even been the CEO, and before that it was that little girl, his little girlfriend or whatever. Well, I guess she was the one with, whatever the secondary company is called. Now I can't even remember that. The one that they were taking the money and funneling it through there. So they were, taking the money through, their crypto deal and funneling it through the other thing, the thing, and then making those tokens, right? So they're giving people tokens, which is funny. And then they bought Binance out, and homeboy from Binance figured out what was up, and so he did a cash out, right? He did like what they would call a bank run. It was like the Jimmy Stewart thing from It's a Wonderful Life, which is also something that's going on with another big company. We'll talk about that in a little while. But that's how this all started. Homeboy realized that, things were not good. And so he, made a run. Everybody went, oh shit. Tried to make a run themselves. And there's Fluffhead going, I don't know. I just eat my vegan breakfast in my fucking patch. Sleep in my beanbag underneath my desk. Come on, this dude, somebody propped him. This dude is a Manchurian candidate. Somebody propped him up. His parents show up down there in court in the Bahamas asking for him to have his special vegan lunch. Is this guy even, I mean, what's up with that? He doesn't want to eat animals. Okay, that's fine. Don't eat animals. I don't care. I mean, you don't think plants have feelings too? They can. I mean, have you ever listened to plants? We can listen to plants. I've heard them. It's pretty cool, actually. They communicate. Plants, trees, and they communicate through the mycelium, or mycelium, however you want to pronounce it. The wispy strands of fungus. It's what forms when you grow mushrooms. That's what comes on the outside of the jar. You see the white wispy strands and they look like blackheads. And those are your mushrooms, but they're communicators. And so that's how trees communicate with one another. And it was the craziest thing when I was locked up. I'm sitting there one afternoon. It was a hot ass. It was during the Santa Ana winds, right? And for those of you that don't know about the Santa Ana winds, out in California, and this is when you get the fires and everything, all of a sudden the wind just changes direction one day and starts blowing back. And it's hotter than shit. It's like all that hot air from the summertime, right? That's been pent up from all the, your Oklahoma, your agricultural states and shit like that. And boom, all of a sudden that wind starts blowing the wrong way, and it's hotter than shit. So I'm sitting there one afternoon. I'm back in the unit. I'm just trying to catch. I'm beat. I've been out doing burpees and shit, and I'm laying there on my rack listening to NPR, and this dude comes on, and he starts playing these sounds, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? He starts talking about it, and it's a dude that he had figured out a way to harness the sounds that the plants make. Now, I don't know what kind of legitimacy there is to it, but sitting there listening to it is pretty cool. And I've checked it out. I mean, I checked out something I looked into when I got home. And I mean, it's out there. I don't know how they did it. I'm not that smart. But it's pretty crazy because legitimately, they're on a frequency. Plants are. Plants, trees, shrubs. And then they communicate through the mycelium in the ground, which is pretty crazy. If you don't believe me, watch, get on Spotify and, check out the Joe Rogan show and look up Paul Stamets. He's the guy. He has a mushroom hat. Not even joking. Not even kidding. One little bit. Why would I? I want to see if I can find this any of this audio from these trees talking to each other. It's kind of crazy. I know you're looking at it, you're going, what are you talking about? I mean, all I had to do was just type trees talking and it came up. There's a whole TED talk on it. And then there's a whole, how trees secretly talk to each other in the forest, and it's got the whole, the conduit through the mycelium. I mean, all the soil is just full of that stuff. It's all fungus, and that's the building block for mushrooms. So one of the theories is I'm not even going to get into that. We don't need to go there. However, I was just going to see. I was hoping to hear. It's pretty crazy. But there was a guy down there, I don't know where it was, at a botanical garden or something down there in Los Angeles. Or maybe it was at like UCLA or USC or something. Anyway, I don't mean to get off on that tangent. Let's get off on another tangent. I want to talk about people that are annoyances. This, all right, just people that personally annoy me. If they annoy you, sound off, okay? Now, I live in a small town, but I've lived in big cities, and I drive like a big city driver. I mean, I don't so much anymore, but sometimes I do. And I know how to merge, how to use my blinker, how traffic laws work. I don't believe in driving defensively. I think you need to drive folks out there in California, West Coast, East Coast, any place where there's traffic, Denver, you got to get in where you fit in, and sometimes you just got to go, instead of sitting there and just holding everybody up. So traffic is one of the things that makes me nuts. And I've never gone into like the road rage with somebody, gone at somebody, but I'll sit there and ride along and somebody does something stupid and I'm yelling, I'm barking. I mean, I'm not barking at anybody in particular, and I'm not going to, it's just like, oh, come on, you stupid son of a, So, here's one that drives me nuts. Right, these are annoyances. And let's see how you all feel about it. Okay, the first one I got written down here is people who park backwards in parking lots, like Walmart, Albertsons, the mall, right? Every parking space, it's angled, right? You got a center line, and then you've got a spot going one way and a spot going the other. There's arrows in big yellow paint, right there for you to see. And if you're that stupid, you can look and see which way the thing goes, right? So like when I go over to Albertsons, I've got a big truck. Sometimes I've got my trailer on there. That's 42 feet long. from the bumper to the back of the trailer. So there's one spot along the, it'd be the south end of the parking lot where you can pull up. And I'll be goddamned if every time I try and pull up there, and if I've got my trailer on there, oh my God, I've got some idiot, right? You're heading west. All the parking spots are angled to the, I guess you'd call it the northwest. And that thing doesn't come, you're not supposed to drive down that towards the end. Every time I'll come, you got to swing wide around the thing just to try and find a place to park the goddamn thing. And I swear to God, every time there's some goofy woman going the wrong way, and then they stop right in front, and it's like, hey, what do you want me to do here? And I'm sitting there like doing this at him, like, what do you want? Back the fuck up and figure it out, or you go out to the Walmart, and oh God, it's the worst. Out here in Wyoming, we have what you call Niners, right? I know you guys don't know I'm not talking about the 49ers. We have county numbers, right? Like Park County is County 11. Bighorn County is County 9. The Niners are notoriously the worst drivers. Well, they're up there with Wisconsin. What is another bad state? Alabama isn't so good. Arkansas is not so good. I see them do a lot of dumb stuff out here. See, we get a Kellogg's variety pack of pretty much everybody in the world here in this little town during the summertime. So I've seen it all. However, the Niners are the worst. And they like to go to the Walmart on, Saturdays and Sundays. And I guarantee they were out there tonight. I didn't go out there tonight. I needed to, but I went to Albertsons instead, which I'm glad I did, even though I'd probably paid another $20 or whatever, but whatever. It's just money, right, at this point? I mean, it's just going to be, fire starter or ass wipe here before we know it. The way this thing's going. I mean, yeah, sure. Well, I just feel so grateful now that diesel prices are down to $4.70 a gallon. God, thank you, Joe Biden. Kamala. Jesus. Well, gas is going down. It's like, you moron. I mean, go fly around in your jet. They should not let him fly anymore. They should not let any of these people fly. John Kerry, Mr. Climate Czar. He's flying all over private jet. No more private jets for any of these people. None. No more Leonardo DiCaprio. None of them going to Cannes. None more going to the whatever the Sunshine Film Fest, whatever the fuck that shit is. No more. You can fly with the rest of us. Guess what? And get rid of first class. Everybody rides fucking coach. How about that? Or everybody rides first class. You want to talk about equity? You want to talk about equality? I mean, it doesn't get much worse than getting on a fucking airplane, does it? I mean, I used to ride first class, and not because I paid for the ticket. My ex-wife worked for the airlines, and I was on standby. And if there's an extra seat in first class, they don't upgrade somebody that's got a different class grade ticket. So many times I would get that first class, and I would sit there and just yuck it up with those people up there, like, oh God, and it was always funny because, you could be whoever you wanted to be. And I always got a kick out of that. You're sitting next to some guy, and, all the people that are back there, you're sitting there, you've already got a drink, you got a hot towel, they're walking past you, and you're just sitting there sneering at them like, look at those plebes, those peasants, we got to go ride back there, I mean, I don't know how many times I sat next to somebody that said things like that, and I'd be like, oh, I know, God, they're just the worst, I mean, I'm totally just, I don't think that, because trust me, I have ridden coach my entire life until those number of years. And I didn't even know what to, they brought out that hot towel thing. I'm like, what do you want me to do with this? And they're like, would you like something to drink? I'm like, yeah, I would. Thank you. You got 3 down before you even, back out of the, back out onto the goddamn tarmac, And you're sitting there next to some, oh God, look at all those peasants in the back. And then if they would come up, if somebody from the coach would come up to the, through the first class and go to use the bathroom up there, you could almost hear like the tension in the air with all the people sitting there like, oh, how dare they come? That's our bathroom, you know? I mean, it's crazy. So you want to talk about equity and shit like that? I mean, how much more arrogant does it get than being some jack-off lying actor? That's all actors are. They're liars. That's what they do for a living. That's all they are. They lie. They lie about, they play pretend. And we emulate them. We put them up on this pedestal like they're some kind of fucking glorious fucking, specimen of humanity that we need to fucking, Leonardo to cork your hole. I mean, the guy he's still the same dude that played that kid on What's Eating Gilbert Grape, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, he's, he's done a lot of, he's smashed a lot over the years. But when you have that kind of money, I guess that's what you get away with. But, I mean, he's flying around solo. Joe Biden, Mr. Joe Biden. What in the fuck is there that he cannot do from a Zoom meeting? He doesn't even fucking stay in the White House. Do you know how much it costs every single time he goes back to his stupid house? That'll just put him in that house in Delaware and leave him there. Give him his little computer. Get him one of those, what do they call those phones for the old people? Jitterbug? I don't even know if they still make those. But they got to have some kind of a phone for old people, right? Probably got a laptop, big old letters on it. Smash fist here now. Maybe. I don't know. I have no clue. But there's no reason for us to be paying that much money for him to fly around. That goddamn Air Force One is like 200. I think it starts out around 200 grand, like an hour. I mean, think about all the jet fuel. Where's the jet fuel come from? Refineries. What do we have? What do we have a shortage of? Oh, refineries. That's where our problem comes from. But yet we're gonna pump that goddamn thing up and fly his fucking dead ass all over the fucking world with him and his handler. That goofy wife. And he's talking about running again, and people are talking about voting for him. And they're saying that there's like who are the 42% that think this guy's doing something good? I want to know where you're at. That's what I want to know. Where are you? Because I have yet to meet anybody in any walk of life that thinks this guy's doing anything worth a shit. He's going to raise taxes on you. He's hiring 87,000 IRS agents. Just wait till you go. And you have to go and fill out paperwork for any kind of a deposit that you make over $600 because it's coming. They're not going after the corporations. They're going after you. They're coming after me. They're coming after all of us. And when are we going to say enough? The Republicans, they're talking a big game right now, how they're going to shut this shit down and blah, 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 blah. I don't see it. They do this all the time. It doesn't matter which side it is. They do it all the time. Look at when Trump came in, right? They had everything. They had the whole thing. They didn't do nothing. They couldn't even get healthcare figured out. How tough is that? How hard is that? To smack the shit out of Big Pharma and say, hey, look, guess what? You ain't going to charge these people $600 for a fucking EpiPen. You ain't going to charge this cat $1,200 a month for insulin that he needs to live. You're not going to charge this lady, $2,500 a month for the nerve medication that she needs. I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? I mean, we already live in a socialist country. I don't care what you say. Your police are socialist. Your fire departments are socialist. Your hospitals socialist. Your library is socialist. Your public school system, socialist. The roads, everything. You got to buy a license to drive. You have to buy a license to go fish. If you're fucking starving to death and don't have a thing to eat or a dime, and you go out there and you go catch a fish, you go out there with a piece of string and a paper clip and you go dig up a worm and you get a ping pong ball and use it for a bobber and you chuck it out there over there in the lake and you get one of those bloated trout that's all nasty. And you're like, I finally get to eat. You go up on the shore. You don't even have a lighter, no matches. You look around and find a couple pieces of chert sitting there. You whack, whack. Get some tinder down there, not tinder like, I know everybody, tinder is what we used to call like dry grass, leaves, twigs, things like that to start a fire, right? Come out here, I'll show you how to do it. And you get a stick. Maybe you got a knife on you. You clean your fish out, everything. You put it on the stick and you're roasting that thing and it's smelling good. You don't even got any spices, no sauces, nothing. You're just like, oh God, you're about to eat the goddamn thing raw, and then all of a sudden you look up and there's game and fish. Can I see your fishing license, sir? You're starving to death. I don't have one. I'm just hungry. Oh, I'm afraid I'm going to have to confiscate that fish. But I've already prepared it. It's already dead. It's on the stick. I need to eat. I'm starving. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. And we're going to write you a ticket, and you're going to need to appear in court. And this is going to cost you X amount of dollars. That's what we live in. Now, I think that there are certain laws of nature. Like, you should be able to do what you need to do to subsist. And when we live in a society where you can't even do that. Now, granted, I hope that doesn't happen to any of you. I hope it doesn't happen to me. But I've been in the point where I've been in the position where I've lost it all. I've been stripped down to literally to nothing, and having some guy look up my ass. All right, so I've been there, done that, got the T-shirt. I'm not scared of it, but the thing is that this is what we're living in, and so we don't even give a shit about any people that are in those kind of circumstances right now. Homelessness is just out of control. Granted, some people are mentally ill and they want to be out there, but the majority of them don't. And you know what the thing is that people like you and I mean, literally, we could be one misfortune, one diagnosis away from having that happen. And the banks don't care. They want to foreclose on you. They want to foreclose on your home. Why do you think they have they create money out of nothing on you. The only real money that goes into a transaction with a bank is when you show up and you give them a down payment. That's it. It's the same with insurance. It's all just a scam. It's gangster. It's a scam. It's the biggest grift there is. And these people in these businesses act like they're so much higher than everybody else, because they've figured out how to grift and how to just steal from everybody. That's what a bank does. That's what fractional reserve banking is. You go in there with $1,000 and you put it in your bank account, and they only keep 100 of it. They take that other 900 and they loan it out, and with interest. And then they don't put it on their books that they loaned it out. They just consider it to be there still. And so some poor schmo comes in and he needs to get a car loan or whatever. He's got, a couple nickels to rub together. Oh, well, we're going to have to charge you about 17% interest on that, Mr. File, and I really need a vehicle. I got to get to work and I've got to go. I got to punch my clock because I got to make this money and I got to pay my fucking child support and I got to pay the bills and I got to pay this and I got to pay that. And you go and you bust your ass for 60, 70 hours a week, and by the time you pay everything, you're lucky if you got enough to get a fucking Monster Energy drink. You get that paycheck and you think, oh, God, it's payday. Yeah. Bye. Chances are you got overdraft fees. They ding you for $28 for every one of those, even though you've been a customer for years and years and years. Oh, we're sorry. That's our policy. I love that one with the banks. That's our policy. When you say that to somebody, people, if you work in a service-related industry and you ever say that shit, you need to check yourself and you need to not do that, because that is the worst thing that a person can hear. Oh, it's our I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry, ma'am. That's our policy. What a cop-out. What a cop-out. You shouldn't be working a job like that. But guess what? You do, because you're roped in too. You're a wage slave. You think slavery is dead? You think slavery is done? No, it's not. It's just morphed into something different. If you're punching a clock, if you're happy right now because it's Friday night and you went out and got corned up and you're sitting here and maybe you're listening to this and you're a little bit tipsy top, whatever, kind of laughing about it, think about your week. Think about how much Friday meant to you. Think about how much Monday's going to suck, right? How many out there think Monday's going to suck? How many of you out there think Monday sucks every Monday? If you don't, I'm happy for you. I don't think Monday sucks because I don't give a shit. It doesn't mean anything. It's just, sun goes up, sun goes down. Wind blows, snow flies around, sun comes out. I go chase fossils and do what I'm going to do, I mean, I'm fortunate. Very much so. Very blessed. And have nothing but gratitude about it. But I see the way that that people are living in this country, and it's saddening because we don't have a lot of time. We shouldn't be wasting our time. I mean, I shouldn't even be having this conversation right now. What I would rather be doing right now, to tell you the truth, I'd much rather be writing, or I would rather be playing one of my guitars, or, reading, or out in my shop, fixing something, building something, making something for somebody. Those are the things I like to do. I'd rather be out riding my dirt bike and just out there in the middle of nowhere. I mean, that's my happy place. But, when it's 8 degrees, and you can't really do that. I don't have a 4-wheeler. 2 wheels. Go out there on a dirt bike in the ice and see how that plays out. It gets a little squirrely. Anyways, back to things that annoy me, if that hasn't been enough already. Where are we at? Oh, people who can't negotiate a 4-way stop. People learn how to. Just all you got to do is pick up the book, the driver's ed book. Just pick up the driver's ed book. Look at a 4-way stop. I'm at the point that I pull up, I look, and if I've got if anybody's giving me those goofy, like, googly eyes, like, looking like a guppy, I just go. I don't wait for, the worst is when you sit there and, you're looking over to your right and this dude's got the right of way. Like, you're waiting for him to go, right? Like, he was stopped before you stopped. And then you give him one of these, just kind of a nice little, like I just do, like the one finger, maybe, and then they go. And they're waving a stinky fart away from their face, but they're waving you through like you're fucking up their day. I don't like that. Those people drive me nuts. They're worthless. They shouldn't be driving. They're horrible. People that can't merge on or off a freeway. When I lived in Seattle, okay, I used to get on the I-5 if we were working 410s, a lot of times on Thursday night, I would go down to Oregon, or if we were working like 5 days a week on a Friday, which is the worst. Olympia is about 60 miles from Seattle. That is the worst 60 miles that you can even comprehend. And I finally figured it out. You just stay in the slow lane. I would just stay in the slow lane. I'd get on, this was a long time ago. I don't behave like this anymore, but I'd just get on the interstate and I would, excuse me, I would merge over. Just one lane, just to make sure I wasn't getting pushed off, because a lot of those, if you stay in the far right, you're going to get pushed off. And so I just merge over one lane, and literally everybody else would get on that interstate. They'd merge onto it, and they would just put that left blink, and they'd just start just bottlenecking it over to that left lane, and just jam it all up. And I would get there faster just by staying in the slow lane. And I remember so many nights just looking over and seeing some guy in a little Toyota commuter car or whatever, beating on the steering wheel and on the dashboard. And I'm over there smoking a joint and drinking a beer, laughing at him, Got my dog sitting next to me. She's like, hey, And here we go, right down the, slow and steady wins the race. That drives me nuts. People that don't know how to merge, like my buddy Squeak used to always, he's like, it's like a zipper. That's all it's like a zipper. You just got to, What's up, Squeak? Nicest guy on the planet. Road rage, bad. Runs in the family. He pulled a move one night. Oh my gosh, I shouldn't even tell the story. I think I will, though. I probably have told the story before. It had to do with a bicyclist One of those guys with the fluorescent shit on, and like the duck helmet and like the fingerless gloves, and he's got the rear view mirrors on the bike, and one on his helmet, and he's got the spandex shit on, and the clip-in booties, whatever. Oh. The guy's driving, or he's riding right in front of us, and it's bumper to bumper rush hour traffic up on Lake City Way. And we go through like 3 or 4 lights like this, and the guy will not get over like in the bike lane, right? There's a bike lane, Seattle, but he won't get over. And finally we stop, and we're in the work van, and I'm in the back sitting on a thinner bucket because his girlfriend was up front, and he just puts that van in park and gets out. We had like a 4350. Gets out, pushes that dude off the bike, grabs that bike, wings it into a yard, and gets back in. And his girl was just like, I can't believe you just did that. And I'm in the back. I'm sitting on the thinner bucket. I'm breathing thinner fumes and sitting back there drinking a tall can, whatever. I'm laughing my ass off. I'm like, oh my God. Like, this dude is the nicest guy on the planet. You can't meet a nicer guy than Squeak. And to watch him do that, that's like, oh my God. This just really just triggered him big time. It's annoying. It's frustrating, We're just trying to get home. I think it was a Friday. We're trying to get back home. We're ready to go out and party and do something, We're sick of working all week. But that's where this world will push you to, I'll take a guy like that that's just the kindest, nicest dude that you could ever meet and just snap him like a twig, Oh, God. I wish I would like to write that into a movie script somewhere. That would be just absolutely hilarious. I don't know who you'd have. You'd have to have somebody do a cameo riding that bike, some obnoxious actor like George Costanza or something. You have Jason Alexander on the bike or something. Have Kramer on the bike. I don't know. Anyway, traffic. Traffic is just annoying, and it's annoying in this little town because nobody knows how to run a 4-way stop. They don't know. They don't have any idea, not to run it, but how to operate. And the people that want to merge all the way to the left, they do that, and then they all of a sudden are going 5 miles below the speed limit. It's like you keep up with the flow of traffic. That's kind of the general consensus in a city. Everybody knows that. You're not going to get pulled over as long as you're keeping up with the flow of traffic. If you're going slower, you're probably going to get pulled over. You know what else drives me nuts? People that use the self-checkout stand at the Walmart or the Albertsons, and they've got a whole cart full, and they don't know how to use the scanner. They don't know how to take their produce and put it on the thing and weigh it and type in whatever it is that they got and operate that, and they sit there, and it's a busy day, and you're sitting there with one item. And you're just watching these people, and you're just going, Once again, it's like the sideshow Bob stepping on a rake. Those people need to fuck off. If you have a cart full of shit and you're not ready to go in there and motor through that motherfucker, then you need to go get your bitch ass in lane 12 and sit in line with all the rest of the idiots. That shit drives me bananas. I cannot stand that. What else we got here? Oh, people who speed in school zones and don't let kids cross the street in school zones because they're running late. I hate that. It drives me nuts. It's not the kid's fault that you're late. And you shouldn't be driving like that through a school zone. There's a reason that it's 20 miles an hour. You got kids everywhere, you dummies. I hate that. That drives me nuts. And there's always people pulled over. They just go flying through there like, well, I'm running late. I'm so important that it doesn't matter. It's like, dude, you're right, And I hate to say it, but most of the time it's a female sitting there with a bunch of kids. She's putting on makeup. She's got the cell phone. She's not even paying attention, just driving like an idiot. And then they'll tailgate you. That's even better. They'll tailgate you, People who can't back up a trailer, that annoys. If you can't back up a trailer, don't have it on the truck. And if you have a trailer and you don't know how to back it up, go find some open space somewhere and learn how to maneuver that damn thing, because that drives me nuts. And then the coffee kiosks, that's in line with the Karens that are always late. They're 15 minutes late for work, so it's 8:15. They're already late for work. They figure, what the fuck? I'm just gonna go through and get myself my caramel macchiato or whatever the fuck it is. Your mochaccino skinny latte thing with gazillions of fucking grams of sugar in it. I love watching those ladies too. That like at the gym, they sit there and do an hour of steady state cardio on a stair stepper, like just barely enough to get the heart rate up. Get off, and then you see them up the road, pulled off right there at the coffee shop, coffee stand. They're not just getting a black coffee. They're getting the pumpkin spice. They got the whipped cream, everything. They maybe burned 1,000 calories, and they're going to sit there and drink that coffee that's got 1,500 of sugar in it. Good move. Those people, yeah. Turn in your gym membership. Turn it in. Just turn it in. And the last one I think I can think of is people that still write checks. You don't see that anywhere, but you see it here. In small towns, you see it, and it's just like, oh, it's so annoying. You got, it's always some old lady or old dude like writing it, like the scene from Big Lebowski, what he writes a check for like 63 cents for his half and half, and you're sitting there, all handshaky, and you're like, oh god. Can't find their driver's license. Who does that still? I used to write a lot of checks. But I had employees and shit like that. So everything was a check. I went through books of checks like crazy. Now I don't have that. It's great. I've had the same 3 books of checks sitting here on my desk for over a year. I write a check once in a while, and it's awesome. I used to go through so many postage stamps and checks. And, oh, God. Filling out forms for dudes, and, oh, God, you got guys with tax problems, guys with this and that, the other thing, garnishments, and then you got to deal with the, fuck all that shit. We've turned a simple life into just an absolute nightmare. Nobody can read the tax code. Nobody knows. You got to go and hide. You can't even go to court without having an attorney with you, because who knows how to. For one thing, nobody takes the time to even look into it, to even look at the law. Nobody takes time to read a constitution. Nobody takes time to read state legal statutes. Federal legal stat, nobody. I guess I always have been interested in it, because it's like, that's how the system works. Everybody's like, wow, why are you so political, man? It's like I'm not trying to be. It's like, but this is what makes the world go around. So I don't want to sit there and just be some dummy that, and I am. I'm not, I'm still a goddamn dummy, but I try to take it in, try to comprehend it, try to figure it out, try to, see how things work. That's what I always told guys when they'd come inside, in the joint. It was like, sit back and watch how things work. All right, don't go and impose your will. Sit in the back row, shut the fuck up, and just observe. If we would all do a little more of that, I think that this world would be a better place, instead of getting up and just having to sound off all the time. Now, there is a time and a place for sounding off. There is. Sometimes, you got to be like Stanley Spadowski. These floors are dirty as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. It happens. Hopefully it doesn't turn into a falling down type thing. Great movie, though. If anybody knows what I'm talking about. Great movie, though. If you've never seen it, I would watch it. Falling Down. Michael Douglas. Great movie. I don't know how he ended up with a machine gun. It's a good movie. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Uh-oh. Oh, boy. Well, that might be it. Come on. Oh, boy. Mm-hmm. We're going to play these games now, I guess. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Well, here's the good thing. If anybody's even paying attention. We can go like this right here, and we can go video capture device, add source, and we will just add a different source. How about that? Catch me outside. How about that? And we're going to go to FaceTime HD camera. And there we are. We're back. A little different lighting. And the thing doesn't fit in the screen. I want this. Transform. Transformers unite. And we will go to stretch to screen. Now I covered up my graphics, but who cares? It's time to wrap it up anyways. So, sorry about the camera. What do you do? I don't know. When I can afford a new one, I will. You know, unfortunately, the other ones got stolen. So what do you do? And that's what sucks about this thing. I barely touched that cable. Just a little bit, and it went click out. So it was telling me time to shut up anyhow. So anyway, as we always end it, be good or be good at it. In all things be kind. And do no harm. From 52 miles east of Jellystone Park in Coyote, Wyoming, I bid you farewell. And I'll leave you with a lovely song of some sort.